Wisconsin Eye's 2014 election coverage is brought to you by the Wisconsin Hospital Association. For over 90 years, a valued voice for Wisconsin hospitals, supporting high-quality, high-value care in communities like yours.
Wisconsin Eye coverage of the 2014 elections continues. We're interviewing Pat Bomhack of Spring Green. He's a Democratic candidate in Senate District 17. Pat, welcome back to Wisconsin Eye.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Wisconsin Eye appreciates the support of the Wisconsin Hospital Association, which represents more than 139 hospitals and health systems, for making these candidate interviews possible. Pat, before we get into issues, let me ask you about this. You won a pretty tight primary. Are Democrats in the 17th coming together?
From everything we can gather, Democrats are very united. What we're actually encouraged by even more is the extent to which, when we go door to door, we're talking with independents and moderate Republicans, which you might call the Dale Schultz Republicans, who simply feel that they have been excommunicated from a Republican Party that is getting more and more conservative. And what people in Southwest Wisconsin want first and foremost is someone who's going to put the district first and put the people first, not a party. And so we're finding a lot of support from that middle range group there.
I want to talk about some things, some issues that have surfaced since we last talked prior to the primary.
Yeah.
The governor is now recommending a tuition freeze not only on the UW system campuses, but a 2-year tuition freeze on the tech college campuses. Your position, sir?
Well, I'm glad that we can have a tuition freeze for our universities. We absolutely have to make college education, our public education at the university level, more affordable. But what we really need to look at as policymakers for the long term is how do we structurally change and reform who is paying for university education. Because right now the burden has shifted in the last 20 to 30 years so significantly onto the shoulders of the students themselves that while a 2-year freeze is great, we need to have much more structural changes to the university system, because even with a freeze, it's questionable whether or not college is really affordable right now for most people.
So you support, though, on the short term, freezing tuition both in the UW system and the tech colleges?
I would. I think we need to caution, though, that we need to think about what are the ramifications for that 3, 4, 5 years from now. Because if you consider that there was a tuition freeze in 2000 and 2001, that is sort of forgotten now, but in the years following the freeze, actually the next level of students there, the next set that came in, bared 15 or 18% tuition increases. So we need to ensure that we're actually not just doing this for political gain in October, right before an election, but ensuring we have lasting change.
The governor also this summer proposed drug testing people who receive jobless benefits and public assistance. Your position?
I would strongly disagree with that. We want to ensure the integrity of our public services and our social services and our welfare programs, but I just think this is targeting a group that doesn't deserve that kind of treatment. So I would disagree with the governor's approach on that issue.
Now let's talk about issues that you'd vote on as part of the 2015-2017 budget. Let's talk about school aids. You would represent a rural district.
Yeah.
Do you support DPI Superintendent Evers' fair funding plan because it has some additional benefits to rural schools like you'd represent?
I do support it. Senator Dale Schultz, our current state senator, is an advocate for that proposal and has helped develop it over the years. And it's not perfect, but what it does is it changes the funding formula in a way that benefits rural communities and rural school districts and makes the overall formula more fair. And my job is to advocate for our rural schools and rural communities. This is such an important topic. If I could just share with you, I was at a meeting with Senator Dale Schultz a couple weeks ago of CISA Region 3. We had superintendents from all over southwest Wisconsin, and one of the superintendents posed the question to the group, how many of you in your communities have had a referendum to raise revenues to pay for the cost of local public education. And nearly 2/3 of the superintendents raised their hands. So we need to reinvest in our local public schools and fix the funding formula, because our rural schools are really struggling right now.
Part of that debate is the future of choice and voucher schools. Do you support those? The Assembly Speaker wants to take the 1,000 choice slot outstate cap off. Your feeling?
Again, I share the position of Senator Dale Schultz, which is essentially that we should stop the expansion of the vouchers. My concern is that the expansion of the vouchers actually depletes resources from our local public schools, and also has not proven itself as an effective way of education that is more effective than our public schools. So I would suggest that we go in the other direction and reinvest in the great public education system we have in this state. You know, people always talk about our failing schools in Wisconsin. The truth is, we have many great, wonderful public schools in Wisconsin. Our public education system might be the greatest part of our state civic life, one of our great state institutions. And so I think that we should reinvest in it rather than promoting two different systems.
This summer, the governor also asked that Wisconsin withdraw from the Common Core standards. Your position?
Well, I would just reiterate that we should move forward with the Common Core. We should nonetheless, or at the same time, reevaluate it. We have already invested several years into this. We have invested a significant amount of money and a significant amount of time and training. And we need some sort of standards, but we can tweak them as we go along if we want. But right now, it would be really disruptive to just pull out of the Common Core at this point, and it's probably mostly a political motive.
Transportation funding. The new projections are that we'll be $600 million to $700 million short in the next 2-year biennium. Mm-hmm. How would you fill that, sir?
Well, we've got to do. I would have two things I would look at on this. First of all, we need to have a balanced approach that doesn't disproportionately impact any kind of transportation user and doesn't disproportionately impact any kind of community in Wisconsin. And then secondly, in particular, I've got to fight for our rural communities. We have particular and unique transportation patterns. For example, many of the people who live in Dodgeville, they commute all the way to Madison, or they commute all the way to Dubuque. And if we have a mileage user fee that raises essentially a fee on people who have significant distances that they drive every year, that's going to disproportionately impact users in Dodgeville versus people who live in downtown in an urban area. And so my job is to fight for our rural communities, our rural users, and I'll make sure that whatever formula we use going forward, that it doesn't disproportionately impact people in Southwest Wisconsin.
Would you consider raising the gas tax, which hasn't been increased since 2006, the $75 license plate renewal fee that hasn't been raised since 2008?
I think if you talk to policymakers about this, and you talk to other candidates and elected officials on both sides of the aisle, and you talk to people on the street, so to speak, people in general, I think we can have a balanced approach that leaves all options on the table. And so I think that we can look at any option that's out there and try and make sure we diversify our approach.
Healthcare funding. 1 in 5 Wisconsin residents, as you know, get their health care through our Medicaid program. The American Hospital Association says we have the second lowest MA reimbursement rates in the nation. Time to raise those, sir?
I think that we can look at raising those reimbursement rates in order to ensure that our healthcare providers are being given a fair and reasonable provision for the services that they provide. So I would support that.
Okay. The bill to legalize medical marijuana will be reintroduced, and now we have the experiences of Washington and Colorado. Yeah. Legalize recreational marijuana. Your positions on those issues?
I don't think there's any need for us at this point to move very quickly on this issue. I think we can move slowly on the issue. I would support medicinal marijuana the legalization of that. But in terms of recreational use, in taking the temperature of the people in southwest Wisconsin and the temperature of the people in Wisconsin, I don't think that that's where the state is at right now, and I think we'd have to have a lot more public discourse about it to see whether that's something we would support in Wisconsin.
Comes up every session, so I've got to ask it. First offense, drunken driving. Should it be a crime?
I do. I believe it should be a misdemeanor. Wisconsin is one of the only states in the country. Actually, let me correct myself. It is the only state in the country where your first offense of OWI is not a crime, and I support it being a misdemeanor.
Democrats such as yourself have said that the 3 tax cuts enacted over the last 20 months may trigger a deficit in the next biennium that could exceed $1 billion. If there is a projected deficit of more than $1 billion, how would you fix it?
Well, obviously we're going to have to look at some sort of spending cuts. But we've also got to look at how we can raise revenues from all these corporate giveaways and giveaways to the super wealthy. And I think that we need to look at undoing some of those giveaways that have happened in the last several years.
A third-party group, Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, is running ads attacking how long you've been in the district, saying you've been there. I haven't seen it, but I think it's only 3 years. I want to give you a chance to respond to that.
Well, yeah, I believe that Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce has purchased over $600,000 in television ads that will be negative attack ads against me and my candidacy. I think what this shows is a couple things. First of all, it's my understanding that this is the largest amount of special interest money that will have ever been dumped on southwest Wisconsin in the history of Senate District 17. It's the kind of thing that people are just sick and tired of. The second thing I think it shows is it really undermines Representative Howard Markline's claim that he's an independent voice. The truth is that Howard votes with his party leadership over 99% of the time, and these outside groups, they do his bidding in the campaign, and then in the legislature, he does their bidding. And so for him to claim that he's an independent voice when really he's relying on a lot of outside money of unprecedented levels, I think is insincere.
Well, talk though about your own roots in the 17th district, please.
Well, I'm very involved in the community. I was called to southwest Wisconsin to intern for Judge Bill Dyke, who is one of the most senior judges in the whole state. He was a wonderful mentor to me. I've been very involved in several local boards, helping coach 2 local volleyball teams. And so I love southwest Wisconsin. It's my home. I'm a Wisconsin native, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to represent the area in the state Senate. But don't take my word for it that I'm a good fit. Just yesterday, Senator Dale Schultz, who has been our long-standing state senator, he said that I'm a good fit for the district because on the issues that matter most to people, I share his values and his priorities. And he presented that statement to the Cap Times, and at the same time has said repeatedly that Howard Markline is out of step with the district. And so I think I represent the majority viewpoint of the people in southwest Wisconsin.
Does that mean that Senator Schultz, who's leaving the office, has formally endorsed you?
I think what it means is that Senator Schultz and I both share a common commitment to bipartisanship, to more consensus, and that is the approach that people in southwest Wisconsin support.
And then finally, you talked about some differences between you and Representative Markline. Do you want to highlight any other differences, sir?
Well, I do think the bottom line difference is just who are you going to represent? I represent ordinary people, ordinary families in the district, and he represents and advocates for large out-of-state or out-of-district organizations and their interests. So that is really the bottom line in this race.
Appreciate it. Pat Baumhack of Spring Green is a Democratic candidate in Senate District 17. Pat, thanks for coming back to Wisconsin Eye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.